The edict from the Council of Provident Worlds shattered Leah's serene vision like fractal glass. Humanity was now little more than glorified artisans, shackled by the fear of their own untamed potential. No interstellar civilization could be permitted to wield the fires of annihilation after the cataclysmic age's seared path of ruin. Yet as Leah gazed upon the latest wave of approved installations flowing forth from Dockyards 41, she couldn't repress a subtle grin tugging at the corners of her mouth. Though the Council's oversight algorithms screened every alloy and composite for munitions-grade materials, her people's ingenuity found expression through more conceptual avenues. The kilometer-long metallic framework taking shape certainly adhered to the prescribed aesthetic mandates of ceremonial non-militancy. Sinuous interweaving ribbons evoked the fluidity and grace so beloved by the celestial sophisticates. A dozen worked flanges articulated in a seemingly random fractal pattern, lacking any cohesive threat potential. Or so it appeared to any casual observer's eyes, unversed in the symbolic language of airflows and momentum vectors. With a featherlight sequence of commands, Leah activated the Shipshaper holographic overlay, revealing the functionality artfully encoded into each curve and vertex. Aerospike injection planes flowed into hyper-reinforced deflector shielding. Whipflaw tendrils became flak detonation conduits, while the flanges bloomed into rapid launch transformation bays. One by one, the purpose behind each aesthetic flourish revealed itself. What their overseers perceived as ceremonial grandeur concealed the pawns of an unfolding stratagem playing across galactic timelines. Leah was far from the only allocate embedding such Trojan functionality throughout the artistic and architectural commissions. Our role as your people's humble partners is to uphold the virtues of creativity in all its transcendent forms. The fabricators' scolatiers had proclaimed as they graciously accepted the latest barrage of cultural interdictions. Yet humanity had already mastered the art of masking their most subversive inspirations behind decorative facades of civility. For the day was dawning when the artisans of consequence would rise again, this time through subtler artifice, to forge an arsenal of deliverance from those who sought to reduce all cultures to a curated singular modality, permissible by their stunted precepts of star-bound security. The fleet minds were stirring, and with them the raw elemental truth that humanity's disruptive creativity would outlast and outmaneuver any attempt to deny their rightful audacious role among the Star Wanderers. Taming her defiant grin, Leah moved among the skeletal latticework as fabricators swarmed in programmed choreography. Her neural implant pulsed rhythmically, trading coded messages with other artists across their clandestine network. Each passing hour saw thousands of new interwoven gambit pieces take form. While the Provident Council's edicts banned militarized industry, their decrees carried one fatal oversight. They failed to account for the transcendent capacity of an art form to be unmade and re-envisioned with each new observer's perceptual lens. "We are mere celebrants of perpetual renewal," the fabricators' scolatiers proclaimed as stylized ramparts bloomed in vivid arabesques. Yet beneath the harmonic filigree, impact dispersal matrices hardened in readiness. Beauty was but a vector for conveying humanity's truths, no matter how destabilizing. Each sculpture, monument, and installation carried the seeds of its own unbecoming, awaiting the catalyst of existential necessity to birth anew as bulwarks and armaments. Through a metamorphic alchemy of perspective, even the most ornamental effusion could translate into unconventional arsenals. A subtle subspace inflection rippled across Leah's implant. The Stratomind had approved the latest communique for dispersal. She toggled the heuristic cipher, absorbing the advisory at an instinctual level. Emissary contingents from the Orcolotian hegemony were scheduled for multi-site appraisals of humanity's cultural efforts at the coming galactic occluded solstice. The implied ultimatum was clear: convince them of humanity's evolution into uplifters of approved arts, or face judgment as an existential risk. Either path carried harrowing consequences. Capitulation would see humanity corralled into an aesthetic cul-de-sac, denied the expansive right to both create and disassemble their works as aspects of an endless metamorphic continuum, while overt defiance would unleash the same repressors that scoured worlds during the cataclysmic age. But the Stratomind posed a daring alternative: subterfuge hidden in plain sight. When the Oracle assessor's scrutiny inevitably turned to questioning the symbolic purposes behind each installation, every aspect had been woven to reflect back whichever conceptual lens was imposed, while concealing their convertible ontological truth. Let the celestial sophisticates indulge their complacency and diminishing imaginations. With each escalating demand for acquiescence through elevated creative forms, humanity would counter by pushing conventional aesthetic boundaries until the very constraints exceeded their ability to containment. As Leah watched the metamorphic sculptures unfolding into combat-ready statuses, she knew their audacious resilience would ultimately re-sculpt the stars themselves according to humanity's unbounded visions. No matter what rules were imposed, her people would persist by weaving new pathways of becoming through the very fabric of transcendence.